MJ from the Raven Age here, and you're watching One Standing Webzine.
So you were just telling me you're back from Donington,
Yes.
and you've got some amazing festivals going ahead, like Copenhagen and Resurrection Fest. How is it after 2 years of total shutdown of live music? How do you feel about going back on stage and be able to perform again?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's kind of what we do. You know, this is our livelihoods. It's our it's what we, it's our jobs. And then to be able to do it again after such a long time, it feels amazing. We dipped our toe back in the water back in 2000, the end of last year. Mm-hmm. We did a small UK tour just to kind of gauge how everything was going, and that was great. And we knew that this summer was going to be special because obviously for the bands, but for the fans, they haven't had this in such a long time. So it's been it's like end of wartime kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I guess it is. So yeah, during that time, we all witnessed artists being completely lost and heartbroken, if I may say. How did you guys cope with this situation, except doing that tour in UK?
It was very difficult, mainly because I think the first year it was more the unknown that was the killer part. It's like if people go, okay, you're going back on tour at this time, this place, and then you go, okay, I now know what I'm doing. There was a long period of time which no one knew how long this was going to go on for, so that was the scary part.
Yeah.
And obviously we have, compared to other bands, we have obviously a much smaller crew, but a lot of our crew were like, what's going on, and but now we're back at it and it feels great.
All right. Was the release of Exile a way to stay busy and focused on music?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the idea of it was something that we wanted to do for a while. It's we just didn't have the excuse to do it, and we've got the proper album 3 ready to go, but obviously we couldn't tour it, and if you can't tour a product like that, it's just not possible. Yes. So we basically had to do we did this small side projects, and we thought, okay, we'll do that, and it will tie over the time, and it's, as I said, it's something interesting that we've never done before, so that was really good.
Nice. So you're just telling me that the third album is almost finished.
Yes.
I've read that somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
What can we expect from this one?
Well, it's probably the most collaborative body of work we've ever done, and the third album, there's kind of it's kind of a big deal. Everyone always talks about the third album, and it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best thing I've ever done. It's the best thing I've ever been a part of. I truly think that it's going to hopefully give the fans who Conspiracy came out in early 2019, so it's quite a while, modern day times, for a band to go between projects, so we're very excited about it, and I don't think people will be disappointed.
Nice. I have to admit, I was quite surprised when I read that you guys were working with Matt Hyde.
Yes.
I mean, I know he worked with some amazing acts like Deftones and Parkway Drive, but he started working with hip hop acts like Cypress Hill, just to name one.
Right. Okay.
Can you tell me more about working with him and what did he bring to the project?
Well, Matt Hyde is. We've worked with Matt for the last couple of albums. He did Conspiracy, and he's very, very good. He's very. He works with us almost like as an extra band member, which is nice. He becomes kind of like the fifth guy. He's a great guy to work with. We get along with him as well as a person, and because we go through a lot of changes, it's very, very difficult to go, this is the final mix, this is the final one. But Matt kind of lets us do quite a lot of changes, and he's very easy to work with.
So I mean, it's important for you to get along with someone like that.
And he gets our sound, most importantly. He understands what the Raven Age is, and every time we work with him, we go, oh, cool, it sounds like the Raven Age, and that's what we want.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
As a metal act between modern, classic and melodic sound, how do you think you stand out from your peers? I mean, you said that bands like who released an album in 2019 were modern too. But how do you think you're standing out from them?
It's interesting because I think we've got this kind of blend between old school and new school metal, which is really good because there's a bit of a gap, I think, between the old generation and the new generation. The old generation don't like anything new, and a lot of the new generation aren't fond of things that are old. And I think we've got this good mixture of age with fans, I think. So I think that's what gives the Raven Age its sound, the fact that there's a lot of these modern metal riffs and stuff that people can relate to. But then the number one thing that we do is melody. A lot of people say, hey, why do you have not more screaming vocals and stuff like that? And it's just not what we're about. We're more about melody and why scream something if you can sing it? If it's, that's just our attitude towards it. And there's so many great bands that do that already. Yeah. We don't need to be like them. We can just do what we do.
Yeah, I mean, we can hear that in your sound. And I mean, while I was listening to both of your albums, I was just reading the lyrics at the same time, and we are just like, it's like we are part of some medieval universe.
Yeah,
and it's like we're some part of a character, we're some part of a story as a character.
There 100% is, and the great part of this album, number 3, is you get to kind of delve into more of the Raven Age story.
Yeah.
There's this whole kind of mythology behind the band name and the album covers and all like that, and we're kind of like really doing like almost like a big reveal on album number 3 to what that's all about. So yeah, absolutely right. There is definitely mythology there.
What I was gonna say is maybe that's what people are looking for today: music to escape to, music to delve into. We need stories. We need to just go away from
normal life,
your life, from anything that goes around. And I mean, the Raven Age does that very, very good.
Thank you.
And by the way, congratulations on the 35 million streams.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you're aware of that.
I didn't. It wasn't
just to tell you.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
I've got only a few quick questions just to end this interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me about your most striking memory? Not necessarily on tour and not necessarily something funny, but just something that comes to your mind.
Striking. Well, I think one of the most kind of surreal experiences, I suppose, with the Raven Age guys, probably in my life as well, was playing to a South American audience. That was took me, by surprise. We did the biggest show we've ever done we did a stadium in Sao Paulo in South America. And there's a bit that we have in our set where we play a song called Grave of the Fireflies, and people get out their phones and the lights kind of thing, and they all light it up. And at this part of the set, I usually have to, speak and ask them to do it. But this particular show, everyone knew exactly what to do at the right point, and it literally, the whole stadium lit up at the split second.
So nice.
And it was like 80,000 people just do the same thing in one go, and it took my breath away. So much so I couldn't sing the next bit because the oxygen just left my lungs, and that was one of those moments that you just kind of, I suppose, a life-defining moment.
That's awesome.
I think they call that. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the actual music industry?
I think for the past 15 years or so, maybe longer, it's going through a transitional phase where we've obviously gone from album sales as the main form of the business to streams. And that's fine, because I think, especially the way that films are now streamed as the main way of, I think people are finding their feet with it. But it's taken a long time to change over this kind of business model of the music industry, and I feel like it's happening now, where people are getting used. Okay, streaming's here to stay. Let's just get used to this, and we know now that touring and live music is more important than it's ever been. So I think, especially in rock and metal, they've always had that. Rock and metal's always been more about the live show than it has about the album sales. And I think, if you look at bands like Maiden and Metallica, they've always put everything into their live show.
Into
so
visuals,
I think into visuals especially, and I think that's where people's minds and attentions are headed. And I think I'm hoping that that's kind of teething issues are now over, and people can start cementing themselves into the industry as it is. I think the other thing is, there's a lot of acts like, the Iron Maidens of the world and the Metallicas and all that. These are old guys, and I think there's a fear for them to step down because of who's going to take over. But I think you've got to let it happen first, because while they're still going, they're still a sure ticket, for festivals, for venues. They know that they're going to sell out, but you've got to let it, the next generation of stuff. And I think once that happens, people will be surprised.
Sure, and I think that, for example, we've got Hellfest in France, the most important metal festival. And we could see how they are doing their, putting younger bands just below, if I may say, older bands like Metallica, Alice Cooper, and other stuff. And you've got this
up and coming.
No, I wouldn't say that because they're already.
They're already there.
But yeah, they're already planning to just put them
there,
very at the headline place. Like
it's ready to go.
It's ready to go, exactly. What have you been listening to lately?
I've been listening to. I'm a huge fan of Ghost. Like a massive. I think their new album's great. We've had that. It's kind of been like every tour we do. There's like an album of the tour or a song of the tour that we listen to, and it comes on again and again. And the new Ghost album's definitely been that. I think I'm ruining it for a few people though, because I keep playing the same songs over again. But I think Ghost are just fantastic. They're one of those bands that they're the next kind of like big headliner, and they do it so well. So that would be great. I'd love to get on a tour with those guys.
Right. But, I have to admit I prefer Meliora from
the other one.
Meliora, not the previous one, but
the one before. Yeah, that's their big one, isn't it? Though that's the one everyone
amazing.
Loves. Yeah, it is great.
That's not a track I will skip on that album.
I think this the new one is obviously a lot lighter, but I think the production's really good. I think he sounds really good on it, and it's kind of like it's light, but also very musical, And I think it's great that they do that. They're not just going, we've done that before. We're going to just keep trying different things, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, trying new things is always more interesting than just staying on the same sound over
safe thing. Yeah, that's how you fizzle.
What's the most important lesson you've learned along the way?
What, in touring music?
Yeah, touring and being in the Revenage.
Probably is things aren't always going to happen according to your time plan. That's definitely what the last few years have taught me. And I think patience and just trust in what you're doing, and realise that they may not happen according to the way you think it will, but other interesting things can also happen. Yeah. Which I think is the most amazing. I think patience, especially these last few years, that's what it's taught me.
And finally, what would be your advice to an artist just starting out?
Do it for the love of it. Don't do it because you want to make money or you want to become, like a rock star. I think those days of the quick ones, especially in rock and metal, I don't think they really exist too much anymore. I think you need to, if you want to do it and you want to do it professionally, you've got to be willing to graft, you've got to be willing to put the time and the effort in, and it's like a filtration system. Very, very few are lucky enough to make it through, and I've been very, very fortunate just to be able to do the stuff that I've been able to do. I feel very, very fortunate. But I work with some of the most dedicated, kind of driven people probably in the industry, because and that's what it takes. But the most important thing is, don't do it because you want to do it because it looks cool. Do it because you love music. Do it because you want to make good music with good people.
So thank you for your time.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.